This is King of Review. Find the points of intersection between y equals 3x plus 7 and x squared plus y squared equals 31. One method for solving this problem is to use substitution. We have an equation for y equals 3x plus 7. So we're going to substitute 3x plus 7 into the second equation for y, like this. So we have x squared plus y squared equals 31. Notice I left an open space for y. I'll now substitute 3x plus 7 for y. So the 3x plus 7 goes in the parentheses here. Now let's expand this portion. X squared plus 3x plus 7 times 3x plus 7 equals 31. This gives us x squared plus, and I'll use FOIL to multiply this portion out, 9x squared plus 21x plus 21x plus 49 equals 31. Now combine like terms. I get 10x squared plus 42x plus 49 equals 31. Now I want to get a 0 on one side of the equation, so let's move the 31 over to the left-hand side. So I'll subtract 31 on both sides. This gives me 10x squared plus 42x plus 18 equals 0. Now, do these three terms have any common factors? Yes, they do. 2 is a common factor. So let's factor out the 2. This gives us 2 times 5x squared plus 21x plus 9, and this equals 0. This equation is now in the form ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. When we have an equation in this form, we can use the quadratic equation to solve for x. The quadratic equation is x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, and this is all divided by 2a. The a, b, and c values come from these numbers here. So on our equation, a equals 5, b equals 21, and c equals 9. Let's apply these three values to the quadratic equation. We get x equals negative 21 plus or minus the square root of 21 squared minus 4 times 5 times 9. And this is all divided by 2 times 5. When we simplify, we get negative 21 plus or minus the square root of 261, and this is all divided by 10. So we're going to have two answers for x. One will be calculated using this plus sign, and the other is calculated using the negative sign here, or the minus sign. So use your calculator to enter these values in and solve for x. The first value of x is x equals negative 0.48. And we get x equals negative 3.72. So these are the two x values. These represent the x-coordinates of the points of intersection. Now let's find the y-coordinates of the points of intersection. We can do this by plugging both of these x values into either one of these two equations and solve for y. I'm going to choose this first equation. Y equals 3x plus 7. I'll plug in the first x value, f of negative 0.48. This equals 3 times negative 0.48 plus 7, and this equals 5.56. So we have a point of intersection at negative 0.48, 5.56. This is our first point of intersection. Now let's plug in the second x value, f of negative 3.72. This equals 3 times negative 3.72 plus 7, and this equals negative 4.16. So I have a point of intersection at negative 3.72, negative 4.16. And this is our second point of intersection. So letter C is correct. So we just used substitution to solve this problem algebraically. You could also enter both of these equations into your graphing calculator and plot the two graphs and then see where they intersect. I'm going to plot a rough drawing of each of these graphs here so that you can see what it looks like. So I have a coordinate plane here. So let's look at our first equation, y equals 3x plus 7. We know that this is a line because it's in slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. So let's plot this line. Okay, so I'm ready to plot the line. So we have a y-intercept of 7. This is our b value. So it crosses the y-axis at 7. So that's right about here. So I'm going to put a point right here. Now we have a slope of 3. The m value is 3. Since the slope is 3, this means up 3 over 1. So that is right about here. So now I'm going to use these 2 points to roughly draw in what our line looks like. So we have our line here. And now let's look at the second equation. X squared plus y squared equals 31. We know that this is a circle because it's in the form x squared plus y squared equals r squared, where r is the radius. We know that this circle has a center at the origin, and we can figure out what the radius is because r squared equals 31. So if you take the square root of both sides, you find that the radius, it's approximately 5.6. So let's go ahead and plot this circle on the same coordinate plane. We have a center of the circle at the origin, and then the radius is about 5.6, so that's about here. So it's going to pass through these points. So I'm going to just roughly draw in the circle. So here's the circle in red. And there we go. So we have a line that intersects a circle. And you can see that it intersects here and right about here. So at 2 different points. And we solved for these points here. Thanks for watching.